Who did they allow to naturalize into the nation and assimilate?
You tell me.
Those were white people.
It was the white people.
Okay. Call the ambulance and call the paramedics because I might need to be on a stretcher in a second. My first debate was with a white supremacist. Something tells me that this reaction is going to get me incredibly heated.
Nolan, right?
Noah.
Noah, my fault.
You're good.
I'm so starstruck to be talking to you right now, dude.
Starstruck?
I appreciate that.
This is too much glaze. This is too much glaze. I told Krispy Kreme I want it glaze free. I don't know why I'm seeing so much glaze.
So, lay it all on me. What is civic nationalism, and why is it good, and why should it be implemented?
Civic nationalism is an inclusive, non-xenophobic form of nationalism defined by shared citizenship, political equality, and allegiance to democratic institutions.
Watching this while I edit the footage is actually weird. He was the first one to establish a trust path. He didn't want this to be a screaming debate. He wanted this to be a nice, calm debate, which is exactly why he established what we agreed on.
I don't know how you can have a nice, calm debate with the white supremacist, but wait, let me just... He hasn't really said anything yet. He hasn't even, mentioned his argument. I don't know, but like you called him white supremacist. I'm already just eyes. I'm seeing red. So like, let's take a deep breath and see what he has to say.
I don't believe that a nation is based on by race, but instead by values.
I don't think we're going to go too far then, because we literally disagree on what a nation is.
A nation is a large group of people connected by shared history, culture, language, or ethnicity, united by a collective identity. Do you see how it doesn't just say a nation is a large group of people connected by ethnicity? Okay, it can be ethnicity, or it can be a language, a culture, or it can be shared history or collective identity. Isn't that very interesting how it just doesn't just say that?
By white people for white people.
And where does it say it's for white people?
1790 Naturalization Act.
I'm looking at my fucking notes like, ChatGPT,
Okay.
Have you betrayed me? You said that...
Here's the issue. I really don't give a fuck. That's the real issue with this whole thing. Is like, I don't care what the founding fathers thought. I don't care what the first settlers thought. I don't care what Christopher Columbus himself thought. I really don't care. Because at the end of the day, me and my grandma and my grandma's grandma and my grandma's grandma's grandma have been here for generations upon generations. It's the only land we know, just like I'm assuming for him as well, Nolan, Mr. Nolan. And we are also the reason why America is America. I can guarantee you, I would bet my life that America would not be America without the African American community. Period. You wouldn't have America without hundreds of years of free labor. It just doesn't happen. So I don't understand how you can try to reap the benefits of a country that you love so much and then try to kick out the people that help it get that way. Does that make sense? That's not going to work. So I don't really care about what the founding fathers thought. I don't care about the 1790 Naturalization Act or whatever you want to talk about. We not going nowhere.
1790. I knew you were going to point that one out. Okay. I was trying my hardest to grasp. And where does it say for white people? Because I know ChatGPT didn't just lie to a nigga. Well, I have a few of my own, that speak against it. This is when I finally pivoted to my notes. That if America was a country formed for white people, then it wouldn't have said, it states that all men are equal.
But what is the context of that?
In the Declaration of Independence.
No, but what Naturalization Act was imposed?
But not what?
During, not exactly when that was written, but what?
Bro, if y'all could have felt the way my stomach turned!
During, not exactly when that was written, but what Naturalization Act did they impose? Who did they allow to naturalize into the nation and assimilate?
You tell me.
I don't care. I don't care. Like, I'm so confused. I'm really confused. And I understand that if I was actually having a debate, I wouldn't be able to come with this argument because people like a framework. They like understanding, where you're coming from, and they want you to be consistent with your arguments or whatever. I really don't give a fuck. I'm not going anywhere, and we're not going anywhere because this is our country as well. You can't. It's different. I just don't think, I can't understand how you could try to cut out a large reason why the United States is what it is. Okay. And the amount of influence even today that African Americans have on the culture, the food, the experiences of the average American is ridiculous to think that you would think that you could just kick us out or have this be an all white nation. I hope I'm not blowing up my mic, but I am absolutely upset. And I knew I was going to be angry because what is wrong with him? I don't care what the Constitution says. I don't care. And shout out whatever Trump said. Before you guys unsubscribe, I'm not a fan. But whatever he said about all the rules and regulations of the Constitution needs to be overlooked right now. Okay, in this point in time, I really don't care what the laws were, what they wanted the country to be. They thought slavery was fine. I'm gonna disagree with the founding fathers sometimes. I can guarantee you there's some things that the founding fathers said that he might disagree with, that Nolan might disagree with. Do I care? Does he care? No. So therefore, just because the Constitution or whatever he said, let's actually look up. We're gonna look it up. We're going to look it up. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. The Naturalization Act of 1790 was the nation's first federal law to establish uniform rules for granting U.S. citizenship. It limited naturalization to any free white person of good character who had resided in the United States for 2 years. Okay, so is he condoning slavery? Like... I'm confused. Like, I'm really, really confused. You can't just go back to a time in the past where people were racist and be like, well, see, this is the rule they came up with, so let's abide by it. It's like, what does that even mean? Like, why would you take a law? There was a lot of laws back then. There was a law that if you were black, you couldn't be free at a period in time. So I'm confused as to why we're just taking this law for like why something today should be different than it is. And we're going back in time. Are you now arguing for, you know, segregation and slavery and whatever? And I don't know if he is. Maybe Nolan is doing that. He would be stupid to say so, but maybe he is. So let's find out. Because right now this doesn't make any fucking sense.
Who did they allow to naturalize into the nation and assimilate?
You tell me.
Those were white people.
It was the white people.
Okay.
It's not talking about all men, literally universally.
You don't think that they would have specified that?
And somebody said this in the comments too. I really want to drill this point home. There's a lot of different angles you can take in debunking this guy's like opinion and arguments. One of them specifically is who is considered white? Right? At a period of time, whiteness didn't really exist at all. It was people from different nations and different groups, right? We just talked about what a nation was. It wasn't just based off of ethnicity. There were other things. And back when you lived in an area where there maybe weren't as many people of different colors, what else were you going to disagree over? Because humans are very, we're kind of like that, tribal and whatever, right? So what were you going to disagree about with somebody if it wasn't based off of race or ethnicity? It was going to be a nation you came from, the language you spoke, all of those things, right? So when people got to the United States, Italian people, Jewish people that we consider white today were not considered white in the past because white didn't really exist at the time. So I'm really confused as to why he's saying white people as if it just, applies to all the people we see as white today, because everyone had their own issues depending on where you came from coming to the United States, because people were still tribal at the time.
We're probably just going to keep going on circles on that because I'm just going to keep pointing towards that because I think that just provides good context. So what was your second point?
My second point was
that I don't give a fuck. That was the second point. That was my second point. Did you say something different? Why are we basing our standards on what America should be right now based off of racist founding fathers of the past? I don't understand that. We can agree with the things we agree with and like the things that we liked about what they said, but then we have to take everything? Do you know how many things the founding fathers probably said and did that we would disagree with today? Does that mean that we have to take it as law? Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. I don't care if you're going back in time when the United States was racist and taking those laws and trying to apply them today. What that got to do with me? Because I'm not drinking out of a colored water fountain. That's not me right now.
Evolution happened, right? They had more and more naturalization acts that came in. I would just say this is a classic case of whataboutism. What about the 1870? What about the 1952? I would just say that's, a case of whataboutism. It doesn't really disprove my original point, but for the sake of argument, I'll play into it. We just have to...
Okay, you know what? You know what? I really want to find out where Nolan's lineage actually lies. Because if it's Italian, or if it has a little Jewish in there, or if it has anything that wasn't considered the epitome, because he has darker hair. He looks like he could have a little bit of some other features from maybe a place with deeper features, okay? It seems like something else could be going on here. In which case, if we went back to 1790 or whenever that act was, what do you think that his people were being treated like? Do you think he would want to go back and live in that time? Would that be beneficial for him, do you think? I don't think so. I don't think he would really like that, probably. Depending on where he came from, because he doesn't look like a born and bred UK British what are they called? I don't know. I don't want to say anything crazy.
We just have to look at now what has created the best outcomes. A more homogenous society or more of a multicultural society? That's what we got.
Multicultural, hands down. Multicultural. And you know what? The only reasons why a multicultural society might not have, the same amount of positives, I guess, or whatever, is because of racism. I can guarantee you, if you accounted for racism in these communities and like people being bigots in these communities, and you just have people of all different backgrounds living together and working together and communing together, you're going to have a better outcome. Point blank, period. You see how productive companies are when they have more diversity? Do you see how, productive in large cities are when they have more diversity? It doesn't really matter your ethnicity. It matters what you bring to the table. And multicultural societies specifically have better culture because they're more creative. They're mixing things from all different places around the world. Societies with diverse multicultural populations, such as the United States, Canada, and Singapore, tend to hold significant, wait, everybody, keyword, significant advantages over racially or ethnically homogenous societies in global economic success, innovation, and adaptability. Black people, Hispanic people, all of these people in the United States make America what it is. It makes America great, because why would you want to be in a place where only white inventions are, only white food is? What is American food? Please, what is American food if it's not a melting pot of all different types of cultures' food? What is it? Unique white American foods aren't a monolith, but rather a collection of regional and cultural dishes rooted in diverse European heritage. Blah, 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 blah. Let's find out. Cincinnati chili. Okay. Y'all had some Cincinnati chili recently? Spoiler alert, it's spaghetti with chocolate in it. Okay. It's spaghetti with chocolate in it. Okay, so have fun with that. Hot dish. Y'all ever had hot dish on a nice Saturday? A Midwestern staple baked in single casserole dish, typically composed of canned cream of mushroom soup, ground beef, vegetables, and topped with tater tots. Is that what you guys want? Many of the world's most popular foods were invented or heavily re-engineered in the United States. Don't play with it. You know why? Because when people come here, they're creative. Because you're mixing with all different types of people. You have new ideas. You see how different cultures do things. You say, wow, I've never seen it done this way. What if I mix my culture with this person's culture and make something new?
We just have to look at now what has created the best outcomes. A more homogenous society or more of a multicultural society? That's what we got to look at now. I advocate it because I believe it brings the best outcomes.
The problem with white nationalism, white supremacists, and the whole lot, bigots, I guess, in general, is that they just don't really ever think about anything or do any real research, or I think they participate in a lot of confirmation bias. It's very much like, I'm gonna look this up, and as soon as it says X, Y, and Z about what I want it to say, I'm not gonna dig any deeper. I'm not gonna look for pattern or do pattern recognition. I'm not gonna try to find out any bigger, broader context or details. I'm not saying that there's no better statistics that homogenous societies have, but I really would chalk a lot of those things up to racism. And if you didn't have racism and bigotry in a society, which is really hard for humans to do, if you didn't have that in a society that was multicultural, I'm sure a lot of those factors that we're talking about would be less prominent. There would be less cons than pros in those societies.
What would you say?
I would just say the overwhelmingly strong white majority of a nation.
This is where the tide started to turn. I finally realized. Breathe, relax, and ask more questions.
Right, I say 95%.
And what would that look like for our country? Does that look like deporting 30 million people?
Yes, like lots of deportations will happen.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you think that would do to our economy?
He said, yeah. Okay.
Well, I've heard your point on this. I've seen that, and it's not a terrible point. But it's not going to be, let's support 30 million people in 1 year. These would be waves, it's going to be slow, it's going to be hard, and just because it's hard doesn't mean we can't do it, right?
Right.
Just so we don't have, economic crash. And I think it's also kind of a non-point because...
Wait. No, that's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it. So now you want to make sure that the people that are left over here, the white, European descended people that are still in the United States after this mass deportation of everybody who's not white, you're telling me you want to make sure that your economy doesn't tank? But you don't need us. I thought you didn't. I thought you wanted the society to be white. Why are you phasing us out? Why not just say everybody get on the plane right now? 1 year. Why do we? Obviously, we're important in some way to your society, because otherwise we could all just leave and it wouldn't matter.
There's always downsides to literally everything. Argue vice versa. What is the benefits of multiculturalism? We can look at black and brown people. They take more from taxes, not taxes, from government assistance more than they pay in taxes, right?
Do you have a study for that?
Wait. Okay, first of all, we've already looked this up. And we've seen in time and time again that multicultural societies are just going to fare better. So I don't know where he's getting his information and his data from, okay? But why do you think that a population of people, black and brown, would on average have less income and pay less into the United States government and receive more social benefits, like SNAP, Medicaid, Medicare, whatever it is, all of the things that they get from the United States government? Why do you think that would happen? Maybe it's because you had a population of people that you had as slaves. And I know no one wants me to bring this up because maybe we forgot about it. Maybe he didn't read this part in the textbook. Maybe if you have a population of people that are slaves, okay, and then you grant them equal rights. Eventually you grant them equal rights, but they have nothing. Do you guys understand what do they call it? The time value of money. When you have a family and they have money and they give their children money, and those children give their children money, and they're able to start a business and give their children money. All of that compounds over and over and over generations. Let's say Nolan is 18 years old. I don't know how old he is. And he leaves his house, okay, and he has nothing. All right, he has nothing. His parents kick him out that day, okay, and they say, well, figure it out. Where do you think he's sleeping that night? Immediately, okay? Where do you think, let's say he goes and tries to get a job, and the job says, no, Nolan, the reason why we can't give you this job is because you have brown hair, and we don't really like that over here. Where do you think he's gonna go, right? What do you think he's gonna do? How much money is he gonna have? And then when he eventually gets a little bit of money to afford to live himself, how much money do you think he's gonna have to put away for his children's college education? How much money do you think he's going to have to pay into the taxes in his neighborhood so that his kids have a good education themselves? Do you see how these things compound over and over and over and over?
Shows that black people take more from taxes than when they pay it?
Yeah, let me get it.
All links will be in the description.
So this verse is from apps.urban.org.
Thank you, bro.
I mean, basically this included that whites pay the most taxes than Asians. In the census study, they concluded that Hispanics and blacks were overrepresented per capita.
Overrepresented per capita for how much they take from taxes than what they give to the government in taxes.
And Asians would be deported as well, right? Because they're not full European?
At this point, I'm breathing more. I'm thinking critical, and I can ask the questions that I've been meaning to ask.
Okay, I'm glad he's turning it around. Because at first, he led this like, I lost this debate. This white supremacist said this and that, blah, 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 blah. I'm glad he's a little bit more confident now. He's saying that he said his will 1, 2, boom, boom, boom.
But do I believe that, this country would be able to sustain itself, that it would be able to sustain itself after 10 years of deporting 70% of its people? No, because whenever you have 30% of people, well, who's going to be the farmers? Who's going to be the this? Who's going to be in the military? After all, we do have the strongest military.
He's not thinking about any of those things. He's not thinking. Oh, you know what? After you get rid of 100 million people, there will be no room for streamers. There's not gonna be any room for streamers, mama. So you better pack it up. You better get your ass in the gym. I need you to be eating 156 grams of protein daily, okay? Because your ass is gonna be a war veteran, a doctor, a scientist, and everything else you need to be.
Isn't the military overrepresented with whites?
It might be, It probably is.
A lot of these jobs could be taken.
I'm fact checking every motherfucking thing. No, white Americans are actually significantly underrepresented in active duty military as a whole compared to total United States population. Instead, black Americans are notably overrepresented. Let's see. White, non-Hispanic, 56% of U.S. population, and active duty there 53%. Okay, black Americans 13, but they make up 20%. 20 to 21% of active duty enlisted troops. And here's the issue that I have with bigots. They don't fucking look things up. What are we doing here? I didn't know. I wasn't like, oh, well, I'm going to prove him wrong by looking this up. I just wanted to say, oh, what he said, was it correct? And it's just not. So his premise is just wrong. So now I bet you if he knew these statistics or somebody told him these statistics, what would he say then? Now you're deporting a group of people who's overrepresented in the U.S. military. You're not going to be able to do this streamer job anymore, mama. I don't even know if this is his job or not, but you're not gonna be able to do this anymore. This free time you have, this hobby, you got to hang it up and start doing pull-ups. I don't know what to tell you.
I get what you're saying. Like if we deport illegals and stuff like that, who's taking the jobs? The reason why a lot of white people aren't really taking those jobs is because they don't want to work for that pay. They don't think that it's worth it, right? And when it comes to immigrants and like illegals and stuff like that, they can, they'll work for that pay because back in their home country.
Let's do a simple economics question. Just a simple one. What is going to happen when you start paying people? And I'm not saying that this is not something that people have already sorted out. Okay. I don't really know everything about economics, but what happens when you have an industry of people and they're working for X price, and then all of those people are now no longer here, and then a new group of people replace them, but they're now asking for a price that is larger than the last group of people? What happens to the products of that industry? What happens to that industry? How much are you going to pay for a house, okay, when now the construction workers that worked on the house are asking for 25% more? What do you think is going to happen to the cost of that house? Quickly. I just want to know. I just don't know why. Wow. What's going on?
Oh, literally everybody? I'm not advocating for literally everybody to be deported.
Advocating for deporting everyone back to their home country besides Europeans?
Not literally everyone. I advocate for a very, very strong majority.
Civic nationalism can work. It doesn't have to just be based on Europeanism, or a certain race. Because what you just told me is that if you have ancestry that isn't just of white, but of in this country and of the Constitution and of the law of America, then you can work as an American.
There'd be certain restrictions. It'd be I believe in a small minority.
Is he getting nervous? Because why are you adjusting your seat so much, buddy boy?
Because I believe about 90. I'd be even willing to do 85, right?
Wait, guys. We can stay. I know my neighbors are like, this nigga is screaming. Wait, guys, we can stay. 15% of us can stay. It used to be, listen, don't late. Hey, Cheryl, unpack your bags. Cheryl. You can stay, okay? He said 15%. You might be in that 15. Okay, it used to be 5 and now it's 15. He's making it, go down just a little bit.
You think I'm gonna kick them out and we're not gonna have replacements? Yeah. What's to say that we don't incentivize whites with tax incentives to rise up their birth rate?
No, because this is where it gets scary. So I really encourage. This is why. I don't know what the saying is. It's something along the lines of if you free the smallest person or the person who's the most minority, whatever, you free everyone. If you are a white woman and you either are silent or you condone or agree with anything that this man is saying, like you want a white country, just know you better open them legs, mama, because that's a part of this whole thing. You're not free either. The moment that we're all gone, the white women literally being like, how did I get in it? Sorry. But I'm just saying, if you are a white woman who's pro this movement, okay, the moment everyone's gone, you are now a birthing machine, okay? Because now they need to replace that 100 million people that are gone. How do you think they're going to replace them with little blonde-haired, blue-eyed babies? How are they going to do that? You got to open your legs, mama. That's what it's going to be. No more jobs, no more having, bank accounts and dignity. They're going to want you to, and I know that I'm jumping, to conclusions, but that is where this is going to lead. It's going to lead, well, you need to be here. This is your role in your position in society. We need you to do this, do that. We're just going back in time. This is a bunch of BS. We're going back millions of years. We're going back hundreds of years in this thought. It's been tried before and it doesn't work. At the end of the day, women are going to want rights. Period. You can't take rights away from women and expect them to be happy and jolly. They're going to revolt at some point. They're going to come back at some point, just like minorities have done in the past as well. It's just not going to work. This happy-go-lucky society that is all white, this white utopia, isn't a thing. It's not gonna happen. Okay, honestly, your best bet is to go to that town, whatever town is in that they're doing, that's the white only town that nobody wants to go to, whatever town that is, go there. Okay, and maybe you can at least imagine like you were in a movie. Maybe you can at least imagine that everyone around you was white, but it's not gonna happen. I'm sorry, it's not.
When we're controlling for immigration, we're controlling for non-whites.
No, but why is that though?
We have a right to preserve that.
It's because of
It all made sense. We have the right to preserve our white nationalism. Christ.
You know what? Matter of fact, why don't you leave? Why don't you go to wherever your ancestry came from, right? Why not? If you have the same amount of stake in the United States as I do, right? Let's say that I can trace my generations back in the United States, which is going to be hard for me, you know, having a lot of my history, people being slaves. But let's say I could trace my history back and your family came later than mine. Why are you more American than I am? I've been on North American soil and my family has been on North American soil for generations, more generations than your family. So why are you uniquely more American than I am? That doesn't really make any sense, does it? If that were to be the case.
I am such a motherfucking beast, dude, because I couldn't disprove the fact that maybe black people do take more from taxes than what they give.
But
you know,
why?
I'm talking about
Why? Do you think that if African American people were given a better situation after slavery in a post-slavery world and they were able to build the same amount of generational wealth as their fellow white Americans, do you think that we would be in a different position today? The answer is yes. Unless you think that black people are inherently less smart, they have a lower IQ, they, you know, have worse culture and all those other things, and you're racist, we can have a conversation with you separately. The reasoning why black people are taking more from the government and are on more welfare programs and SNAP and all these other things is because of the circumstances that we were put in. Period. That's why. It makes a lot of sense if you really just sit down and think about it and stop trying to look through the lens of racism. You know, that's all that I have. All the energy that I have today. Nolan really wrung it out. Wrung it out for me. I'm so sorry. I don't know. Call the ambulance and call the paramedics because I might need to be on a stretcher in a second. That was a lot for me. And I think that a lot of things that Nolan was saying could easily be dunked. They could be dunked on. They could be looked up. They could be debunked. There's a lot of things that could have been done with Nolan's arguments. I really don't understand. I think that white supremacy or white nationalism is a very easy kind of debate to have with somebody, because I think if you really look into it, most things that these people say, these bigots say, really is not founded in any actual facts or evidence. And if you actually just listen to them and think a little bit more critically about what they're saying, nothing ever makes sense. I promise you, it doesn't. If you just think a little bit more. So that's what I encourage you guys to do. If you want to see this full video that I just reacted to, you can click the link in the description. What's his name? Subscribe to Reese Talks. His full video is going to be in the description box below. This is all that I could do, and I'm really sorry to everybody who wanted to see me react to the whole video. I just couldn't do it. I'm going to get better at this. This is my first real reaction video. We're going to see if I have any other things I want to say in the future. Let me know if you want me to react to anything specific, and I will see you guys next time with another video. Peace.